Today, we're tackling something that sounds boring, but can cost your budget big time. We're talking about logs, specifically why traditional log management is broken and what modern observability can do about it. Welcome back to Thriving in Ambiguity, where we break down the complexities of technology, ideally without losing our minds. I'm Steve Mancini, and let's break down logs in 5 minutes or less. So, what exactly is a log? In the IT world, a log is basically a record of everything that happens in your computer system. Think of it like a diary that your applications write in continuously, automatically, and in exhaustive detail. Now, if I could simplify this for you, imagine you could record everything that happens to you in real time. Things like your temperature, what you ate, where you were, your brain function, organ health. I'm talking about everything. Then, when you suddenly get sick, AI could analyze that data and immediately pinpoint what caused the illness and provide a remedy. In most cases, it would see this coming before it even became an actual problem. And ideally, you could be treated before things got bad. The problem? The volume of data can be staggering. It can be expensive and complex. A typical state government system I work with may generate millions of log entries per day. We're talking about application servers, databases, network devices, and they all create massive amounts of data, whether it comes from systems in the data center, at the edge, or in the public cloud. And most organizations, they collect all these logs, they store them somewhere. And then when something breaks, some poor IT person has to dig through them all, find out what they're looking for, like a needle in a haystack. And the larger and more complex these environments are, the more impossible this becomes. Which brings us to the real problem. Check out this scenario. Think about tolls on a highway for a second. If the application that processes E-ZPass transactions goes down, every car going through that toll gets a free pass until the app is back up and running. That can lead to a massive loss in revenue. And honestly, it's unrecoverable revenue, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars if it just so happened to be a holiday weekend, which is, when these things actually happen. And when things go sideways, traditionally, you deploy your smartest, your most expensive people to manually sift through the data. So it's expensive, it's slow, and by the time they find the problem, now they still have to piece together a solution and get things back up and running again. Meanwhile, your SLA is blown, your reputation is taking a hit, and your team is burning out. So there has to be a better way, and thankfully there is. So check out this slide here. Here's where things get interesting. Dynatrace doesn't just collect logs. It's a central piece, but it also understands your topology. It runs traces. It understands your metrics and your user behavior. And then it leverages AI to understand what all of that means. And it connects them to everything else that is happening in your environment and gives you answers in context instead of just data. See, it's powered by Davis AI. Think ChatGPT, but specifically trained on your IT operations. It's running on Grail, which is essentially a hyperscale data lakehouse that can process massive amounts of information instantly from tons of sources. So, when that E-ZPass issue happens, Dynatrace would alert you in real time. Database connections are maxed out. Here's exactly why, and then here's the business impact, and here's how to fix it. Before cars are flying through for free on the busiest holiday weekend of the year. But honestly, you would likely have already been alerted, um, as as if there was database issues, the problem would have already been brought up, and it would have hopefully remediated things before things came down to a screeching halt. Just like in my medical example, once the anomaly was detected, the fix would have been issued and could have been resolved before the system completely crashed. Plus, it shows you exactly how the problem rippled through your entire system. You're going to see the full causal chain of events with no guesswork. Now, I know what you're thinking. All this AI magic isn't cheap. True. There is an investment up front, but if you're already capturing these logs with a separate system, Dynatrace will likely be cheaper because not only are you capturing all of that data and logs, you're also able then to use the full system, and you're going to ultimately get a way cheaper solution at a better price that's actually going to give you answers. Um, so if you think about when an outage actually happens and the cost, the IT overtime, the lost revenue, the reputational damage, and the stress on everybody involved, all of that can be eliminated. So here's the bottom line. Logs are just records of what happens in your system, but the traditional way of dealing with them, the manual analysis, the reactive firefighting, the siloed tools, today it's just unsustainable. Things are too advanced, and you don't need to do that anymore. Modern observability platforms like Dynatrace give you AI-powered assistants that read through all those logs, correlate them with metrics and traces, and they tell you what you need to know. For you IT leaders in state government, education, or anywhere else, the question isn't whether you can afford observability like Dynatrace. It's whether you can afford not to have it when your next critical system designs to have a bad day. Plus, your IT teams will actually get to go home at a reasonable hour instead of playing detective with log files all night. Believe me, I've been there. It's no fun. So, thanks for joining me on Thriving in Ambiguity. I'm Steve Mancini. Until next time, keep thriving in ambiguity, ideally with better observability tools than a pile of log files.